meters at manual job critical international health.
Yes. Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we make the YouTube live now. For that reason, I just took some time. And I'm waiting for some other guest, Dr. Gustavo Zubieta from Bolivia. He's going to join now soon. And Venkatesh also allowed to join. I think many of the distinguished persons have joined. And another guest, today's distinguished guest, Dr. Prashun P. Naik from AIMS, Jodhpur, Professor of Physiology from AIMS, Jodhpur. Dr. Prashun, you have joined, no? Thank you, Dr. Prashun. Thank you have joined. Yes. I'm just waiting. And many other guests, like my good friend, and he's Dr. Ganapati is from West Bengal, and he's a political scientist. He is also here. Nice to see. Dr. Arijita Banerjee from IIT Kharagpur, Assistant Professor of Physiology. She is also here. Nice to see Arijita. You are here. And Dr. Mangala Gunotelake, I'm finding from Sri Lanka, Colombo, Professor of Physiology from University of Colombo also joined. Dr. Gustavo, you are here?
Yes.
Oh,
good morning.
God. I think it's a very early morning to you.
Yes.
Dr. Gustavo from La Paz, Bolivia. I think they are around 16 to 18,000 kilometers away from India. Is there? And near to you, Dr. Atanu Sharkar, today's speaker from Memorial University. And Dr. Gustavo's daughter, who is MD in internal medicine, now doing PhD in University of I think University of McGill. No? Yeah. She's doing PhD in neuroscience in McGill University.
Okay.
His daughter, and she's very good lady, very good girl as such. So I think that without delay, I like to start. Dr. Ganesh, another Professor Ganesh from South Korea. You have joined? Distinguished expert, Dr. Ganesh, you have joined? He's from Korea University of Technology and Education, Dr. Ganesh, PS Ganesh. Are you there? Dr. Nilima Dongre, are you there?
I'm here.
Dr. Ganesh has joined. Yeah, Dr. Ganesh is there. But we are not hearing you, Dr. Ganesh.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Right. Dr. Ganesh is there. Is a professor, professor of advanced research and technology from South Korea. And I'm just waiting for the youngest of the distinguished expert, Sri Dhruv Patil. Dhruv Patil, are you here? Sri Dhruv Patil, are you here? One of the expert, environmental activist, wildlife expert. Dhruv Patil, are you here? Dhruv Patil, are you here? Okay. So anyway, those who are there, I want to, without delay, I want to start because 5 minutes already it has passed. So without delay, I like to start now. So welcome all the guests. Today is World Environment Day, a very important day for all of us. We know very well. Very important day for all of us, and we know very well the significance of our Earth, Mother Earth and the planet, and its importance. In this perspective, UNESCO actually organized in United Nations, they consider for celebrating World Environment Day. And this has been taken very seriously by all over the world. And UNESCO made the separate program for all over the world for environmental issues in various aspects, as we are the part of the UNESCO's environmental health curriculum that the UNESCO chair, Life Sciences. Professor Sinerik Airipetian is the UNESCO chair of Life Sciences, and I am the Dean of Environmental Health under UNESCO Chair Life Sciences. Professor Mubashiri is from the UNESCO Chair Life Sciences Biophysics Dean. So we have the people, we are all here to celebrate. And Professor Sinerik said that he will try to join, and he has asked me to carry on all his blessings with us. So on behalf of the UNESCO Chair Life Sciences, I, Dr. Kushal Das, Dean of Environmental Health of UNESCO Chair Life Sciences, today's program, as a convener, I invite all of you, the guest, the chief speaker, chief guest, Professor Mubashiri, Professor Arvind Patil, and every one of us who are here to celebrate today's program. In this program, UNESCO organized in a different aspect, and UNESCO Environmental Health last year organizes actually a cultural representative, Irina Mihalkovich from Belarus. So this year we decided to conduct a person who worked on the environmental health, an issue very specific for our UNESCO chair concern, and which is also global perspective and important issue for environmental concern. So we find that Dr. Atanu Sarkar, Associate Professor of Community Health, who is an expert, who is a physician by himself and vastly reputed for his research and work in environmental issues in multiple aspects, in which one of the issue like arsenic poisoning, I had an opportunity to work with him in WHO project, and we did a work together when he was in actually Newfoundland. And he is the today's distinguished speaker, and he'll be speaking about his research and his idea and thoughts, but it will not be the research exactly what he does in that. It is general perspective. He will give a talk about the issues concerned, which is UNESCO and the world is concerned at the moment for the environment. So Dr. Atanu Sarkar is here, and very much welcome, Dr. Atanu Sarkar, and we are honored that you have accepted our invitations. Thank you. And we also have the chief guest, Dr. Hamid Mubashiri, Professor of Biophysics, University of Tehran, and UNESCO Head of Chair Life Science Head of Iran. And we have the Dr. Arvind V. Patil, Dean of Faculty of Medicine and Principal of CBM Patil Medical College, deemed to be University, as a chief guest of today. Thank you very much, Professor Arvind Patil. You are with us. We are greatly honored of your presence here as one of the chief guests of this program. We have the distinguished persons who are expert, we consider as per the UNESCO concern, Dr. P.S. Ganesh, the research professor from Korea University of Technology and Education, South Korea. He is with us. Dr. Ganesh, we are very much honored that you have accepted our invitation on behalf of the UNESCO Chair Life Science, and you are here with us. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
thank you. And we have the other guest, like Dr. Prashun Priya Mallik, distinguished today's guest, and he's a professor of physiology from All India Institute of Medical Science, Jodhpur, and is very close to me and my heart. Dr. Prashun, you are absolutely welcome here with UNESCO program and all. And we actually invited two other
Thank you,
guests.
Professor Das.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And Dr. Nilima Dongre, Professor of Biochemistry of under BLDC BM Patil Medical College, was also one of the researchers in environmental health. And Dr. Nilima, I do not know whether you are here. If you are here, please say hello and just
Hello,
say
sir.
hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
she is here
Thank
with
you,
us.
sir.
We are honored
Yes.
that Dr. Nilima, you accepted our invitation. And we have a youngest of the distinguished persons, today's person, Sri Dhruv Patil, who is the founder of Society for Protection of Plants and Animals in Bangalore, and a student of New York University, youngest of the researcher in what is it called actually, the forest and environmental. His passion is on wildlife, and we invited him for special invitation. He already delivered a talk on issues of the wildlife to UNESCO Chair Life Sciences earlier. And it's a great honor. Dhruv, you are here. If you are here, please respond. You are here, Dhruv? Okay. I think he has not yet joined. So thank you very much. And I invite the Dr. Mohammad Nazarjadeh, today's moderator, who is a professor of sociology and international relation manager from Semnan University and the coordinator from Semnan University for UNESCO UNITWIN network, Professor Dr. Muhammad Najarzadeh is with us. It's a great honor, Dr. Muhammad, that you are with us and you will be the moderator of the program to conduct Dr. Atanu Sarkar's speech lecture today. And Professor Sinari Kairipetian, the patron, with his blessings and all, and we welcome all the participants today who are here to listen Dr. Sarkar and the interaction with Dr. Sarkar and other guest persons and the distinguished persons from the environmental issues. We welcome all of you here and thank you very much for that. And now I hand over the mic to Muhammad Najarzadeh to continue his program by invitation one by one. I'd like to tell that after Dr. Sarkar's speech, his speech will be 35 minutes to 40 minutes, and then Dr. Muhammad Najarzadeh the moderator will interact with him. And after that, there will be all the four distinguished persons will speak about their experience on the environmental issues, because most of them are researchers on their own line. One by one, I will invite one by one. And lastly, two chief guests will give their opinion and we'll conclude the session with vote of thanks. Thank you very much. Over to Muhammad Najarzadeh.
Okay, thank you. Do you have my voice?
Yeah, you are hearing. We are hearing you.
Okay, great. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen from all around the world. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, Professor Sarkar. Dr. Sarkar is an associate professor at the Division of Community Health and Humanities Memorial University of Newfoundland, Canada. He was trained in medicine at Boardman Medical College and PhD in public health from Jawaharlal Nehru University, and later he did second master's in environmental studies at Queen's University, Canada. His expertise is in environmental health, contamination, climate change, food security, indigenous health. He received nearly 38 research grants worth more than 3 million Canadian dollars. As a principal investigator, co-principal investigator, or collaborator. He published nearly 40 articles, mostly in international peer-reviewed journals, 2 volumes as a lead editor on climate change, adaptation, and food security, and presented several research papers in national and international conferences. He has been regularly interviewed by local news, media, and international magazine to highlight his research and expert opinions on contemporary environmental health issues. He supervised several PhD, masters, and undergraduate medical students. Apart from academic, he's very actively involved working with the local communities and international academic societies. He's a strong believer of simple living and connecting to nature and believing in science. So, Professor Sarkar, today's title is about environmental, as Professor Das said. Please, Professor Sarkar, if you have my voice, please start. And Professor said you have time about 35 to 40 minutes, and then we go to interact with all the people, and if anyone have a question and such. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing. Just before you, Dr. Sarkar, you started, I'd like to welcome Sri Dhruv Patil, youngest distinguished guest today on behalf of the UNESCO Environmental Health. Dhruv, you are here. We are very much happy to see you and honored. Thank you, Dhruv.
Thank you, sir. It's my honor. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dhruv. Okay, Dr. Sarkar, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I am just going to share my screen. Just let me know that whether it is possible, we are getting it.
It is showing. Yeah, it is showing, but you can go for a full screen.
Yeah.
Presentation mode.
Can you get it?
Yes, sir, absolutely, Pen. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so before I start, I think that the way we work, I am, if it is okay that if you all put in mute, because kindly that then there will be sometimes background noise might interrupt to hear. So I will request all of you, please mute your microphone. And with that, I can going to start my presentation. First of all, I am really deeply honored by this invitation for this such a important event. And as Professor Das already mentioned, that we know for more than 2 decades, in various occasions, we're regularly connected. Uh, uh, social network in Facebook. Regularly, we interact. So today, actually, I'm going to talk about a topic which is not very much technical things, because we know today's present in our guests, all the attendees are from multidisciplinary. In order to capture the attention from all of you, I'm going to make, and since it's an event day, so not talking about typical scientific presentation, so talking about something which is
আরে
connecting to
দাঁড়াও একটা ইয়ে শুরু হচ্ছে webinar.
excuse me, can you put it in a
I
thank you.
request everyone to mute. Please mute your mic. Yeah, fine. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Yeah, so today I will talk about this planetary health crisis and our existential threat. It is and how our behavior is so crucial in managing this or countering this existential threat. The reason actually telling existential threat, because if you see this, just a minute, is it coming to next slide? Are you getting the next slide?
Yes, we are seeing
Okay.
it. Go ahead.
So if you look at this is a very not uncommon since we have seen in newspaper, in television. So if you go to the upper left, it is the mountain of waste. We see in every cities in India, in other countries, in developed countries also, everywhere is a mountain of garbage. It is increasing, and it is, we are not unfamiliar. We know that these are our product. We used it, you discarded it. Now all are that heading to this landfill, and this mountain is growing in every cities, in every countries, in every continent. Now upper middle one is a mine, which is a mine slugs from hundreds of square kilometers. This mine is basically for the rare earth we extensively use in our cell phone, in our laptops, in computers, in electronic goods, everywhere. We get very nice cell phone from beautiful shop in our cities, but we don't know what are insides and where are they coming from, because we don't know the part of the world where actually getting those elements. So this is the the destruction of environment is going on everywhere. The upper right is a garbage, a mountain of discarded clothes in the desert in Chile, which is a pristine. Now that is the favorite place for dumping all discarded clothes in Latin America. The lower left is the one of the deepest part of our ocean, Mariana Trench, where scientists found plastics in our deepest part of the ocean. The lower middle is it is once upon a time, it was a thick forest in Brazil. It was Brazil, that rainforest, which is now denuded drastically in order to cut trees, making it agricultural land. Can you believe it that it once it was such a thick forest we could not enter? Now it is all gone. And the lower right is a Hoover Dam in US. You can see the distinct white and dark above. That white line is actually, earlier it was regularly underwater. It is a dam, the water used for agriculture in California, food basket of US, and also food shipped to so many countries in Latin America and North America and another part of the world. Now that is permanently become drought, and you can see how the water level is going down. This is the old photo, maybe 2 years, 3 years old, but now the water further receded, and now it is now thinking that how the farmers will get bare minimum water for cultivation. So the concept, the planetary health crisis is not exaggerated. It is actually a crisis. We are in actually crisis mode, and our existence is under severe threat. People might say earlier, even 10, 15, 20 years ago, when scientists warned this, people say, oh, these scientists are unnecessarily creating kind of phobia or kind of, the fear psychosis for their own benefit. But now we can see everywhere, and those who are from India, you have noticed such a, I mean, you are witnessing, even I witnessed when I was in India, that the summer is becoming unbearable. I mean, everybody experienced their experience in last 15, 20 years ago, and now there's so much difference in summer in India. I mean, our friends in Iran also will experience the same thing, that what Iran was maybe 20, 30 years ago. Professor Mobi Sharif, Professor Nazar, you have experience now. Everybody, you don't need to be scientist for that. You don't need to have a PhD degree for that. You just simply a sensible person, and you just simply use your observation and go back to a past. Everybody will say the weather, the climate is changing. Now, planetary health crisis is a triad of three major things. It's a climate change, environmental contamination, and biodiversity loss. So it is not, these three are not individual entity, or they all are linked. We all know the climate change, how it is affecting every corner of the world, whether it is a Mount Everest, whether it is a Mariana Trench, whether it is Arctic, or whether it is a global south poor countries or the rich countries. Mother Nature is not sparing any one of us. It is, but poor countries having worse adaptation capacity, that they are suffering more. Rich countries, they have some resources to support their citizens, but poor countries whose contribution to greenhouse gas emission is so low, but they are bearing the brunt. There is no doubt. So we have seen last year in Canada, for example, which is known to be a cold country. Still it is cold. I mean, today is also temperature outside is just 10 degrees Celsius outside my home. But you know that in last summer, there is massive wildfire in British Columbia, is one of the provinces of Canada. Some of the villages totally wiped out, Entire village is non-existent. So there's a village called Lytton, which became a global news. The entire village was burned, entire village, and there's so many other villages. Every year now, forest fire is becoming more and more intense, more frequent, more intense, and creating more damage. And people are losing their homes, people are losing their livelihood. And same thing happening across the world. Climate change is affecting the agriculture, climate change affecting our the water quality, water resources, and air quality, and mental health. There's a climate, mental health issue. People are getting more, particularly young generation, are getting more and more worried. We are not paying attention. There is a climate, the panic. Young people they know what is waiting for us. But we are the lucky people. We are the senior professors. We had a nice time when we had children. We have, if you just go back to your childhood, when you were in grade 3, 4, 5, we had a beautiful environment. We went to a village, nice plant, butterfly, birds, so many things. But are we going to offer the same thing to our children, to our grandchildren, and the children who are about to born? And we are responsible for their terrible future. Environmental contamination is another problem. It is everywhere. Every air is polluted, water is polluted, soil is polluted, and you are getting thousands of chemicals every day, whether by food. We always talk about pesticides, we talk about something which is we known, but we're also getting toxic chemicals from our day-to-day stuff. house dust full of electronic goods are producing a lot of pollutants. Our clothes produce a lot of pollutants, and the pollutants are going to food chain. We are getting also pollutants from our food. Plastics, for example, microplastics, which is always, the plastic always think of big plastic bags causing nuisance. But when plastics get fragmented and become smaller and smaller, microscopic, we cannot see them. And those plastics are actually going to our food chain. Many small animals cannot distinguish those small plastics, and they think food, they eat them. Small fish, small other, and those fish are eaten by bigger fish, and those plastic excrete a lot of toxic chemicals. And interesting thing is that last year, I think in Belgium, scientists, they found plastic in our human blood, the nanoplastics, which is the nanoplastic can absorb from our intestine and go to our blood. So this is the first time, if you just Google plastics human blood, you'll find, I think this Belgian group of scientists. So I can tell you, I can guarantee you, today we have how many people guests today? I think 36. I can guarantee you, I can challenge you. Just give 36 blood samples. I can tell you, 90% of them will have plastic, or I will not be saying 100%, will have plastic in our body. And if you test our blood, you will get thousands of chemicals in our blood. Thousands of chemicals in trace level, everybody's blood. I can give guarantee. I mean, I tested blood samples of my PhD students' research 3-4 years ago in Newfoundland. They banned DDT, I think 30 years ago. And we tested 30 or 40 years ago, maybe. We tested blood of the people, all of them having DDE, which is the metabolites of DDT. And everybody, all having DDE, all. So despite bans, still people are carrying that chemicals. It remains. And these chemicals affect our epigenetic changes in our system, and it continues generation to generation. So we don't think that, well, I am exposed to DDT, but my child was born after DDT is banned, so they are safe. It's not true. The epigenetic changes happen to our body. We're transmitting to our next generation and generation after. The studies being done on mouse found that the one mouse exposed to DDT, the epigenetic changes, it also found in 3 or 4 generations of the mouse. So definitely you can understand that the chemicals, even if you ban them, that doesn't mean that you are safe. It is still lingering in our environment, still in our body, and the effect continues from generation to generation. And of course, the biodiversity loss, which is the very common problem because of deforestation, population increasing. We're expanding our cities. Cities expanding means they are actually going to rural areas everywhere. It is all over the world. Even 2015, I think the first time happened in humanities that urban population outpaced the rural population. We always say rural population is more, but globally, that our urban population in 2015 or 14, I can't remember the exact year, we just crossed more popular people living in urban areas than in rural areas. That doesn't mean the rural area is safe, because those cities expanding in the rural areas. The cities are earlier, which is rural areas, have now become a big cities, metropolitan cities. So, and that means you are destroying the environment. And recent, not recent, even every year we get the United Nations Environmental Program and the United Nations in general say that the nearly 1 million species, animals and plants are under threat. They are not just like tiger or polar bear, which always get more attention. People hardly think of some small spider of your backyard, which plays significant role in maintaining your ecosystem, but we don't care about those spiders because we don't see them properly, because we don't spend time in nature. We only think of, okay, saving tiger, saving deer, saving lion, saving some birds and some polar bear and penguin we are doing a great job. It is not true. We have millions of animals and plants are interacted. Even if the study shows, even if you don't take care of the small insects, Even the bigger predatory animals' life will be threatened because all are interlinked. If a lot of insects or predatory insects can actually eat a lot of pests naturally, we don't know them. So if we disbalance our ecosystem, it is ultimately going back to us. So these are the three major planetary health crises we have to take care of that. So we have a lot of international treaties, that we have a Montreal Protocol for ozone layer, Rio Summit, Basel Convention for hazardous chemicals, and Stockholm Convention for pollutants, and Kyoto Protocol, and so many things. So it is not that we are not doing anything, but definitely not enough. And one most important thing that we're going to tell today, that what we can do. We cannot expect the government is doing everything, everybody are doing, we will enjoy our life. Our whole definition of enjoyment is also questionable and contributing the whole problem. So don't think that others will do and we will just reap the benefit. We individuals have significant role to play. And that is one is a consumption. Our consumption is extensively high. I mean, just imagine when you are a child, how many shirts, pants you have, shoes you have, and you are happy, And now just think of your children, my children, and the number of toys. I mean, I remember the toys my son had. I mean, any point of time, I did not have that many toys in my whole childhood. Of course, my father couldn't afford that many. But nowadays, a small number of families spending all money for the kids, and the toys, that kids don't pay attention. The toys become, I remember when I had a small wooden truck, when it got broken, I used my dad's hammer and nail. I used to fix it. I used that toy for 2-3 years. But nowadays, remote control toy just lasts for maybe a few months and they throw it because they get another toy from their parents, their family members. So our desire is increasing and increasing, and we don't know what happened once you discard those toys. All are becoming garbage, all are becoming waste, all are becoming mountain of toys, mountain of waste. So it's important to address this consumption, our own consumption. We are not addressing this. We're always putting blame on others, but we are developing our own desire, and our needs and wants are always mixed up. So, and it is not true that always, of course, rich countries, the Western countries, their consumption is extremely high. Still, in our millions and millions of poor people don't have basic rights. They don't have water. They don't have health service. They don't have clothes to wear. They don't have shoes to wear. They're, in one hand, they're still struggling for the basic needs, and on the other hand, a good number of people, they are having everything and still they are not happy. They're still buying and buying and buying. But it has significant impact on the environment, and we have to address this immediately if we really want to do something for the environment. And remember that it is not a rich country, even in a poor country like or low income country or middle income countries. Even rich people living in those countries, their lifestyle is as consumption based as the developed countries. So don't paint brush with the same thing that all developing countries are having the low consumption. There also you'll find some people like our middle class people living in India, their quality of life has improved, they consume a lot, and we cannot deny that is causing problem. Despite the fact we don't pay attention to the poor people who still deserve basic services. So let's talk about this, our delusional craving for materialistic thing. So I'm giving one example. Fast fashion, we call fast food. Now we call fast fashion. Now we buy food, clothes like anything, for crazy. If we go to every now and then we buy clothes. I remember when I was a child, my father used to buy one shirt, one trouser before Durga Puja. Is a very famous religious festival for Bengalis in India. So before that, my brother and we had the same clothes. People used to say, "Oh, they're two brothers, same shirt, same trouser," and we are happy. And maybe at best we get another shirt maybe during birthday, but that is not always routine. So, and sometimes my relatives gave us, so that we are happy with that. But nowadays we every now and then, whether it is Christmas or whether it's puja or either Eid or any kind of festivals or any sudden some kind of, that now we have Valentine's Day or we have the Boxing Days, all these Western things. I mean, we just name it. Now we don't need any occasion. Even sometimes in a website, if you see 50% off, all are going to the shopping mall, standing in a big line to buy them, as if we are just like refugees starving and standing for food. It's that kind of very disgusting kind of features you'll find everywhere on earth. So we are producing 80 billion pieces of cloth every year, and 90% produced from low and middle income countries, and they bear the brunt for environmental, because production is very much environment unfriendly. And the fast fashion has emerged a terrible environmental price. For example, this synthetic cloth, this is made up of oil-based products like hydrocarbons, that is also linked to burning fossil fuels. And textile production in a cotton farm using 93 billion cubic meters of water annually. It's one of the most water intensive industry. Can you believe one pair of jeans is equivalent to 10,000 liters of water to produce? That includes the cultivation of cotton. Cotton takes a lot of water. The cotton for fabric, dyeing, wasting water, and transportation. This is the proven that one pair of jeans we got, because most of the clothes we get in Western country from Bangladesh and Taiwan. So bring the cloth, Taiwan, Bangladesh to India, to Canada or US, all considered a water footprint, almost 10,000 liters of water, one pair of jeans. And just imagine, in the same place, we can find a woman travel 3 to 4 kilometers just to carry 20 liters of water for the whole day, because the poor woman cannot carry more than that. So that 20 liters of water means one pair of jeans almost equivalent to 500 women carrying the water for the day. Let's think from that point of view. And then we use the jeans for 1 year, 2 years and discard it. Why? We don't like it, because there is another jeans available in a 50% offer from some shop. So globally, they produce the fashion industry produces almost 90 million tons of waste. It is said that 1 truck load of cloth waste per second going to landfills. It's some part of the world. So just imagine the kind of situation we are having now. So now we come to our human behavior. Now we buy 4 to 5 times more clothes than 20, 30 years ago. And in all of us, today we have 35 members. Just think of it. How many clothes you had when you were a child, or how many clothes your child had now. So you'll find the kind of disparity. And even you, I mean, we are the number of shirts we have, number of trousers we have. It is huge. Sometimes I remember a few days ago, I was cleaning my closet, and I found 2 packs of shirts presented by my uncle when I was in Calcutta. I never opened the packet. It's still there. And that is, I mean, I shared this experience with my colleague in India also. This is the same experience. Some of the shirts they bought 3 years ago, just wore one. So this is the kind of desire we have. And cheap clothes are becoming, as far as salary parity, is cheaper because it is now manufactured. I mean, talking about Western world, it is manufactured in developing countries like in Bangladesh, for example. So the cloth is actually very cheaper. So we don't pay that value to the cloth. So obviously we don't pay any environmental value to the cloth. We just buy and throw it. Oh, it is just $10, just buy it. I mean, a few weeks ago, one of my colleagues actually bought 1 pair of jeans, just $8. $8. Normally it is $60, $70. That's just simply discarding because the new products are coming up. So you will not pay any value to the product because it is cheap. So if you get another jeans by $10, $15, you will just simply throw it out. But we don't know we don't pay attention to its environmental contamination and the values to that, because it is not attached to that. When you buy a jeans, you see that the price tag of the jeans, it is cotton, 100% cotton is fine, washing instruction, nowhere it is written how much water is actually used to produce a jeans, because we don't have that kind of understanding. So in other words, we are actually producing, living in a disposable world. Everything is disposable. Everything is we're disposing them, but we are not paying attention to its environmental cost. So that is also same applicable to our other consumer durables, washing machines or vacuum cleaners or the the microwave or cell phone. Some people buy cell phone every 2 years, every 1 year, because oh, it is not fun. Because my colleagues, my friends are buying new cell phones. I feel myself very backward. They make laugh at me, so I will buy a new one. So these are kind of mindset. Food also that we love in all this kind of international food, that imported food and cosmetics, personal hygiene, etc., etc., etc. All we are having a buying spree. So this is the very popular picture of mall, of any mall in the world. It's the I took it from website. It's in the Indian mall, right? So if you see this, this is a common features in everywhere in the world, right? I mean, you can see nowhere you will find the shopping mall is empty. So people always go for shopping mall, and sometimes it has become a favorite hangout, particularly in the summertime. India, maybe okay, what to go? Let's go to shopping mall. It's nice, cold. Have one ice cream and see the shop window shopping. Maybe you can find something cheaper, maybe some kind of some discount. And remember, these companies are they study human mind like anything. If I remember in 2006, before going to Canada, I was in India. I was working in Delhi. I saw some big companies in India. They invested money on brain research. I was talking to my friends, why some of the corporates are spending so much money on brain research? Why? Is it a cerebral stroke or something? Why? Then I was told by one of my colleagues that it is not brain research, not a brain. Therefore, they are actually studying neurocognitive functions, human behavior. Because many companies secretly they study human mind, how to tweak your mind so that you will have buying spree. You will consider the buying is actually giving maximum satisfaction. And they study so much. Now everywhere you'll find many companies, they're spending money, investing millions and millions of dollars brain research. So basically to study human mind. I mean, a whole big grocery store, you come to North America, you'll see the same structure, the price, the shelf, the product design, everything is made so much. The moment you enter the grocery store, you have a tendency to buy more. You buy more, buy more. More means more you buy, it will give you satisfaction, confidence. The advertisement is definitely play a role. And nowadays, all these tracking, you are now tracked everywhere. Whether it's Google, your cell phone, your Facebook, everywhere they're tracking, they're studying in which aisle in a grocery store, in a shopping mall, which store you spend more time. And you'll see in a Facebook next day, you will find a lot of advertisement on that product. So scary. Our mind is now totally controlled by the corporate. And that is the very scary thing. I remember I bought some books by Amazon. Next day in Facebook, same book advertisement came to my in Facebook. Why? How? How Facebook and Amazon, two different companies. How they link, same book, same environmental book. It's not a very popular Harry Potter book. It is a very environmental book. I bought it from via Amazon, and the book advertisement in Facebook. Even now, they are tracking so much. If you see this shopping mall, if you see there is one shopping mall, say it is called Pure. See, there is one on top, say Pure or Lux. So in the Pure, if you spend say half an hour, and your cell phone will give the message to the company, next time the Pure kind of product, that means you like that product of that particular type of product, you will find you'll get a lot of emails on that product. It may go to spam, but you'll find this emails. So these companies are actually controlling your mind so that you can buy more and more and more and more. And its environmental impacts it's really very, very pathetic. But we are almost like, it's almost like, that we are goat, a sheep, and their shepherd. We have no control. The man decides where the goats will go, and we goats follow that kind of thing. And that is a really matter of concern. we individuals now have to go, that think and say that we should not be controlled by those companies. Their job is basically to make profit. But why should we we allow them to do that? We have to actually reboot our mindset. So this kind of pictures is very common in Indian advertisement. Before any festivals, that your life, your happiness is only around your purchase, buying, not going to a forest, not going to a park, not reading books, not having some kind of other social gathering, only by going to any shopping mall. Even as any religious festivals, the religion part is gone. It is only to spend money on the product. So basically, what is want and what is need? We don't actually pay any kind of attention to that. We think everything we need is everything we want is actually need. There is a difference between want and need. What is need? We need fresh water to drink. We need basic medical care. We need a roof above you. We need a basic education. They need, not these bags full of clothes. Do you think these parents who are actually, it is advertisement of, definitely, but you will see this thing in our families. It is not a unreal thing. Do you think these families, they lack clothes, but they'll buy? So it is giving a kind of momentary gratification. Of course, corporate playing significant role, but our changing values, and it has significant impact on environment. Environment is getting so damaged by this our own gratification. I don't know how many of you aware of this concept called retail therapy. I don't know how many of you know. If you, after me, you can go to Google, you can find retail therapy. It is, people say sometimes, oh, you are feeling down, you are depressed, let's go to mall and buy something, you will feel good. So when you see the retail therapy, it's basically it's a kind of believe our behavior, and of course it is a norm, societal pressure, and also peer pressure, and also a kind of feel of insecurity also, that we go to shop and buy something and feel good. And also the company uses this concept called sale. We have seen childhood also, that some sale, some winter sale, some puja sale, something like that. Now you can go to any shopping mall, you will already find, every shop you will find something in sale. And someone, a sociologist, say this sale. So our chair is to the sociology, that Najar Jadid might agree with me, that the whole concept of selling some products with a little lower price is actually teaching our own evolutionary human behavior. That is, we all have some kind of risk averse, and we always have some insecurity feeling. That is also still in modern life. We feel, okay, this cloth is 1,000 rupees normally, and they're giving 30% less, so 700 rupees. But if I don't buy now, maybe after that, when I will need, then I have to pay 1,000 rupees. So let's buy now. So this kind of thing. Even sometimes they play another role. Okay, this is 700 rupees, sir, but today is special discount, another 20%. But from tomorrow, you will not get it. Then we'll say, see, if you don't buy today, tomorrow it will be another. So buy this, even if you don't need that. So you spend 500 rupees, because 700 rupees, another 20%, say 200 rupees gone, so 500 rupees. You will feel you are like a winner. You are the winner of the whole shopping, because you got such a cheap, and you'll display to your friends. But fact is, do you really need that? That is the problem. Do we really need that? And since we are being controlled by corporate, and our desire is such that we think that we have to stack up all this, because we don't know what is in future. So let's buy it. So this is actually, we have to control. Now I'll go to, before going to this next one, I'm just going to tell you, this is a very great comments by Mahatma Gandhi. So I will actually request you just to read this statement, just 30 seconds, and just on the 30 seconds, you just think yourself. Then I will come to my next slide. Just spend 30 seconds for reading this whole comment, this statement, and the 30 seconds, think yourself, how do you think and how you relevant in your life. So I hope you understand. All of us understood what is the inner meaning of this whole statement and how relevant. Perhaps Gandhi made it 100 years ago in different countries, but still it is so relevant in our life. So now going to my next thing, what we can do at an individual level. First thing is we have to redefine our happiness by keeping in mind the responsibility to the society, ecosystem, future generation. Our happiness, you all should be happy. There is no point to live unhappy and doing social service on you. If you're not happy, you will not be motivated. You should be happy. That is first thing. But what is the meaning of happiness? That is very, you have to understand. So we have to redefine our happiness. And also we have to remember that we are seniors now, or you are adult. When you are thinking of changing our happiness and changing our lifestyle, think of that you are not sacrificing yourself. It is not a sacrificing, that you are doing a great service to a nation. Think of your child, think of your grandchildren. If we got great environment in our childhood, your child also deserves that. Your grandchildren also deserve that. And their grandchildren deserve that. So what kind of planets we're leaving behind? We may live another 20, 30 years, going by our average, lifespan. Then what? So don't think that, oh, if I don't buy now, if I just reduce our consumption, it is a big sacrifice, it will affect my quality of life. No, it's not like that. You are actually contributing to your next generation. And that is the most important moral thing. Re-educate yourself and refuse to get influenced by corporate or market or societal pressure. Just ask yourself, when you are buying something, or do you really need that? If not, don't do that. Because you are not going to die, it is not going to affect your lifestyle. So reduce unnecessary consumption and also regenerate your life and well-being. You have to, your computer, you say reboot or restart. You just reboot or restart your life, and then you will see that what you can do. So for example, I'm giving very interesting, it's called minimalist lifestyle. I just got it from yesterday while making my presentation, Economic Times. But this minimalist lifestyle is becoming now, it is not, I am the first person to say, it is now for last 10, 15, 20 years, it is becoming now a kind of growing trend in many young people in Western countries also. Those who are from affluent, but now they're going to minimalist lifestyle. It started in Japan. There's one woman called Marie Kondo, and also in some European countries. The people say enough is enough. Now time has come to go to make your life happy, simple, minimalist. So this woman is from India. She's making this. This is her entire closet, her clothes. I am sure many university students nowadays, they have 3 times more clothes than she has. But she's happy with this, and minimalist lifestyle, many young generation now, millennials, they're now saying that we should not go by big house. We call tiny house. We can live in a very simple life. And so that not only you're saving money, your life will be less stressful. Let's focus on your more spiritual and mental development and pay attention to the environment. That is most important thing. So this is the kind of, the suggestions coming up in many ways now. Then simple thing, growing food. We get food from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. Why don't you grow our food in our backyard? Now nowadays in city, you will not get your own piece of land and lawn. Only you are living in a big apartments. You may get this small piece of verandas or open space. Use it to grow some vegetables. The vegetables not for saving money, but 2 reasons. One, you just target that out of 365 days, you grow vegetables that is enough to feed you for 5 to 10 days. That's it. That itself is a big achievement. And most important thing is growing vegetables actually help to get closer to nature. When you look at the plants, starting from seeds and growing flowers, making fruits, and you are eating that fruits, enjoying that, that gives a different kind of mindset. And also teaching your children and grandchildren, nephew, niece, and neighbors that this is the nature. The foods are not grown in grocery store or shopping malls. They're grown in a land. And this land we have to care for. So these are food. Even if you have a small, just one wall, you can actually grow. A lot of new technologies are coming up. you can actually grow a lot of small vegetables and in at home. Again, I'm saying it is not for to saving your money. That is definitely save some money. You are getting organic food, not using pesticides. That is another health benefit. But also it is bringing back you to some small piece of nature. That is important. Then saving water and energy. That is extremely important. That is, we all know that. I'm not saying something which is totally new to you. You all know that saving energy and water, but also you have to more consciously do that. It is not that no, that very simple. When you're shaving in a sink, why do you keep your tap on every time, fully on? I saw many people, they open the tap and cleaning the shaving blade, shaving it, but they're keeping the tap open. So this simple thing, why do you use so many lights when you can do it with a natural light or something like that? There's a simple thing, and putting these children always in the picture because they are the future generation. You have to be, they should not raised with this kind of opulence that wasting water, wasting light, wasting power is a part of life. If you don't do that, we will do serious injustice to this generation. We are not giving adequate education to them. Then healthy lifestyle is extremely important. Sometimes we, instead of spending more time in front of blue screen, spending time, and it's called go a little bit outside, walk. That I'm feeling a very interesting development in Canada now. I mean, I am also part of it. It is called park prescription. In short, it's called PARX. In doctors we write RX, means prescription. So it's called park prescription, means now the physicians in Canada, they're soon going to prescribe the patients to spend time with nature. It is a part of the doctor's prescription, and it started in British Columbia, and it started in other provinces. In my province, we are going to start by this June. We are going to start inaugurate this program called park prescription. So all the doctors will prescribe the patients to spend more time, because patients, some people trust doctors than others. So at least the family physician said, now, okay, I'm giving this medicine for your hypertension, but spend at least 2 hours in a week in a park. Just go to even if there is no park, just walk in a nearby neighborhood. Just walk, little spend time with the tree, sit under a tree. And study shows that spending even half an hour in a day with nature reduces cortisol levels significantly. And those who are actually doing research on cardiovascular research and other research in human psychology, that because of stress, the cortisol level goes up very high, and other hormones. Studies show even if you spend total 2 hours in a week, I know you are very busy, we all are busy, you may not have time every day, even total just 2 hours with Mother Nature. Listen to the birds chirping, looking at the trees, some flowers, some small insect, maybe butterfly or spider, and just with you. That reduces stress level, actual biomedical. I'm not talking about a spiritual thing, but actual biomedical. I think Professor Das, who is an expert in biomedical research, can also understand that how these other biomedical parameters in to address stress. Those biomedical parameters, hormonal level, will go down significantly low if you spend time with nature. And definitely healthy food. That is also extremely important. See, we know that we are eating more and more non-vegetarian food, which is very much environment unfriendly. So spend more with vegetarian food, which is have less water footprint than eating animal meat-based food. And educate children, which is extremely important. Instead of playing virtual football, now I saw one of my nephew, he doesn't play football outside. He plays football in computer. Hello, why don't you play football? He has a nice football. His father bought from Nike or some Adidas, beautiful, expensive. I never thought of having that kind of expensive football in our childhood. We used to have a football broken, flattened, and we used to tie with a rope and we play. But we are happy. They're having expensive football. His football is lying somewhere in a corner of his bed, and he's playing virtual football. Now, why don't you play football with your friend? But nobody plays. In the park, there's no kids. In a Delhi, there's one park I found where to live. I found some seniors roaming around, but kids are not there. Kids are busy in playing video games, but they have park. So people should not complain that there is no park. Even if you have park, kids hardly play because they're busy with the study, doing homework. Other time they're playing videos. Now they have Snapchat, they have the Instagram, all this stuff. We have to bring back to normal and involve them in our nature activity. Like that, put this picture of a child watering the plant. It is not just simply caring the plant, bringing the person to the nature. It's so important. Whole our culture of consumerism, which is the main reason for this planetary health crisis, can be countered if you get away with this consumerism, definitely. But it is not a very simple task. It starts from basic, going back to the basic. The basic is nurturing the nature, be physically active, you soil your hand with mud. That's a very important thing. Not your alcohol-based, there's a alcohol-based wipes to prevent virus. That is the important thing for COVID. I understand that, but we want to see the kids are actually smudging their feet and hands with mud. That we need. That is make them a normal human being. We are not robots. With that, I end my presentation. Thanks for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sarkar. That was really great. I really enjoyed it. It was really, really wonderful presentation. I just was amazed by your skill and your ability to talk, actually. And for me, as a sociologist, was really good to hear your presentation. Me personally, I have a question, actually. If Professor Das lets me, I ask my questions, and then I hand over the mic to you. About climate change, as you mentioned, for example, in Iran, we could see this change, like the lack of water that we have. And as you mentioned, we have it all around the world. But one of the most crises that we are facing right now in Iran is the dust and dust storm, somehow haze and dust together. In the past, it was just in some specific part of Iran, for example, in the south of Iran. But right now, we can see it in the whole country. I wanted to know the situation in all around the world. For example, in Canada, in South America, is it possible someday that if we don't control this dust, we see it all around the world, as right now we are seeing, for example, in the north of Iran, that we didn't have it in the past? How is the situation of the dust, and why is spreading all around the world?
Yeah, good question, Dr. Najafzadeh. Dust is a problem all over the world now. You know the reason why? Of course, climate change is the main reason, and of course, the deforestation. See, it is all linked. First of all, what is dust? Dust is basically a dry soil, right? Dry, dusty soil is sand. And why it is dry? Because there is no moisture. Now, why there is a moisture? Because we are changing environment. Our temperature is so high and so little rain. The water moisture retained in the soil is drying up, and it has become disintegrated and it has become dusty. Very simple. You just take a piece of soil in your house, don't add water, slowly it will becoming a dust. Now, question is why it is happening. What is happening in climate change? Let's start with climate change. What is happening in climate change? See, 50 degrees Celsius, we all get very scared, but it is also 100 years ago, 200 years ago. I mean, in some desert areas, as you mentioned, in Iran, southern part of Iran, we had, but it is spreading all over the world, in newer areas. What is happening in climate change? Couple of things is happening. One, our daily temperature, maximum temperature and minimum temperature, both are rising. The most important thing is happening is minimum temperature is rising faster than maximum temperature. So if you just remember your childhood, when you're a child, you have very hot daytime, but in the evening you will see beautiful cold breeze, and in a night time you'll feel sometimes little bit the dew, and in the morning you will see the plant leaves are full of wet dew. Dew, beast.
Yeah, I know.
Now you will not find those dew, not mist. So night time the soil gets kind of the opportunity to get some water from nature, because temperature was less and we had more moisture in the air. Now that is gone. So nighttime also temperature is high and dry. So slowly that climate change is spreading further newer areas and getting more and more dust. I remember when I was in Uzbekistan, sorry, Uzbekistan, we have a lake, Aral Sea. In Aral Sea is used, the water is being totally used by during Soviet Union time by Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan now for cotton cultivation, and the whole water is dried up now. It is Dead Sea now, and earlier they never had dust storm. Now whole lake bed and surrounding areas become so dry. Now people are actually inhaling those dust who never, the previous generation never heard of. Dust is also a major problem in many areas in other parts of the world, even in US, for example. Canada is particularly in the middle of the Canada, the Prairie, Saskatchewan, Manitoba also. They never experienced a dust storm before. Same
What about
reason.
Europe, Doctor?
Europe, absolutely. Same reason. Climate change is making the temperature is going up, but maximum temperature is going up, daily maximum temperature. But if you see the temperature average, you have to do a lot of different scientific research. First of all, you have to see the change of maximum temperature of the day of 365 days for 10, 15, 20 years, and minimum temperature. You'll see the rise of minimum temperatures going up every year. And that is the measure of concern.
And as you mentioned, this minimum temperature is more important than the maximum temperature.
Yeah, I mean, because minimum temperature actually helps you to bring back the moisture from atmosphere to the soil. And not only it is making the soil moisture, also it is making the small plants, microscopic plants, moss, fern, all the small plants to survive. If they die up, then soil become bare soil, and the bare soil become dust, and there will be more dust storm. So it is all linked. Mother Nature is a most intricate nature, and our nature is very intricate, but we are destroying, and the whole system is one part is destroyed, it has cascading effect to the other chain. It's like a food chain kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a comprehensive answer. I really, as I said, enjoyed your presentation. Okay, Professor Dust, I can hand over the mic to you. I don't have any other question. Please go ahead about the program, and then if you need me, just let me know.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. I think that your presence was really gracious, and you have excellently moderated the program. You have taken in spite of, because in fact, the Iran Sunday is not a holiday, but fortunately today was a holiday for one bank holiday in Iran. For that reason, I got Dr. Najarzadeh as well as Professor Mubashiri in the right place. So we are fortunate to have them. And Dr. Najarzadeh, we are very happy.
Pleasure and honor for me actually to be here.
I now request you to please hand over the certificate of honor by UNESCO Chair Life Sciences to Dr. Atanu Sharkar, Associate Professor of Community Health of Memorial University of Newfoundland. Just I'm keeping it upload. Yeah.
Okay. I will do that on behalf of the UNESCO and UNESCO.
Yeah, is it visible?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
This is a certificate of honor. Certificate of honor from the UNESCO chair.
Honor, and it's signed by Professor Senerik Arapetian and Professor Das. I'll give it to you. Of course, virtually
Thank you. It is my great
in
honor.
Canada,
I
and thank you
appreciate
so
that.
much, Professor Sarkar.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Sharkar. And now I will be going, keep it up. No. Now I'll go for the next round of the program where we have 4 distinguished experts in this line. And first I will request Dr. P.S. Ganesh from South Korea, professor, research professor at University of Technology and Education, Korean University of Technology and Education, South Korea. Dr. P.S. Ganesh from South Korea.
Yes, sir.
Dr.
Hello,
Ganesh,
sir.
I want
Yeah.
Dr. Ganesh, basically a chemist and chemistry PhD and a great researcher. He did postdoc in South Africa and traveled many parts of the world. And he's settled as a postdoc in South Korea. And now he is a professor. And we are very fortunate to have Dr. Ganesh. He is actually collaborated with my wife, Dr. Swastika, in research. And we are very happy because his work mainly in the biosensors, which is very effective in the environmental to prevent the
Yes, sir.
biodiversity as such,
Yes,
and
sir.
prevention
Yes,
of many of the issues. I like to request Dr. P.S. Ganesh to speak 3 to 4 minutes on your work and what you actually like. You share your thought of it in this line. Over to Dr. Ganesh.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Actually, I am, as Professor Das sir said, I am basically a chemistry person. So in all my research area, I used some chemicals, even some of the hazardous chemicals and some of the safe chemicals and some of the eco-friendly some chemicals. However, now actually we know that all the matters what we see in the environment is one or the other way, it is a chemistry. The whatever the we feel, we sense, we touch, we handle, it is made up of the chemistry. And we know that from the last couple of decades, due to the rapid growth in the science and technology, which leads to the growth of economy of the world. But however, this economic growth, which also leads some of the serious problems, that is some of the environmental issues, such as the climate change, the water pollution, and many other things, even the agricultural land, the appearance of pesticides and many things. So now how we can avoid the use of many hazardous chemicals, or how we can go for some safer way so that which gives less impact on the environment. So in regarding this, in 1991, a USA professor, the name is Professor Paul Anastas, he called a new word which is called as the green chemistry. So he is also known as the father of green chemistry. So we all know that what is meant by green chemistry. The name itself says it is something like the green approach. That means, which means the use of or the avoiding of the hazardous or the toxic or the harmful chemicals which is we use in the synthesis, and which is replaced by the eco-friendly methods. So there are 12 basic principles of this green chemistry. I don't want to go in detail. I just want to see, I just want to tell some of the 2 classical examples of the green chemistry approach, how it helped the mankind. So we all know that one of the non-steroidal drug, which is known as ibuprofen, which is mostly recommended. The original synthesis of this ibuprofen, which was patented by the Boots company in England in 1960, this original synthesis involves 6 steps, and it involves the involvement of the toxic reagents like HCl and ammonia, and lot of intermediate compounds are there, and the formation of inorganic salt. That means the purification was very difficult. Even though performing all those things, the yield of the ibuprofen which we obtained from this industrial original synthesis was only 40%. That means the 60% of the side product was formed. So how the green chemistry helped to solve, or how green chemistry helped to overcome this issue means the BHC company in 1991, which proposed a new way of synthesizing this ibuprofen by a green method, which involves only the 3 steps, and there is no toxic reagents are involved, and there is only one side product, that is the acetic acid was produced, and which is used for some other applications, and the yield was drastically increased up to 75 to 80%, and there was no formation of some other intermediate. So this is the green chemistry approach. So how we can do the industrial scale synthesis of some medicines. And there is one classical example. We all know that nowadays we talk more about the nanotechnologies, the synthesis of nanomaterials, and applications of nanomaterials, carbon nanotubes, and many things. By taking just one example, the silver nanoparticle, which is mostly used for the development of some biosensors, and which is also a antimicrobial agent and anti-cancer agent. Which, in the chemical route of synthesis, we can do the synthesis of the silver nanoparticle by using a sodium borohydrate, which is a hazardous one. Even if the inhaling of the sodium borohydrate is more, it impact to the nervous system, and some nervous disorders may appear. So this can be replaced by the use of the green synthesis by using the plant extract. Some of the plant extract, and even some of the orange fruits which contain some reducing agents, we can do the synthesis of this silver nanoparticle. So with these 2 examples, I want to conclude that the green chemistry is the future of the chemistry, and of course the future of the science. If we adopt all the 12 principles, all the 12 principles will revolve around only the avoiding the hazardous chemicals and replacing those hazardous chemicals by eco-friendly method. So if we do these things, then definitely we can help the development of the science, and of course, if science develops, definitely the better technology will comes to our hand. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on green chemistry for a few minutes. Thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Ganesh, for excellent way you have explained your thoughts and ideas about how to make the planet more green and better for tomorrow. And thank you very much for your presence, kind presence, in spite of your busy schedule. I know very well you are an active researcher and full-time researcher, but since you have taken the time to discuss into this, you thought of us in the presence of your maybe UNESCO UNITWIN network and the UNESCO.
Honor, sir. Thank you.
Very much happy and honored. And your certificate from UNESCO will be sent to you by email. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I request the next Professor Dr. Prashun Priya Nayak to say a few words on your thoughts about your work and your experience on environmental health for 3 to 4 minutes. Over to Dr. Prashun Priya Nayak. He is the Professor of Physiology of All Institute of Medical Sciences, Jodhpur. Dr. Nayak.
Thank you, Professor Das, and it's really very interesting and encouraging to be here. I was impressed with Dr. Sarkar's presentation. It's so nice. And I am actually working in the field of aluminum toxicity, and I was finding so much points which is increasing the aluminum use and the need and requirement, like whether I want it or need. That point is very useful. Then coming to the, and Dr. Najar Jadeh mentioned about the dust. Those dusts are also increasing the environmental load of aluminum. And unfortunately, our mother nature has avoided, like ecology has bypassed this aluminum ion in the biological system. But our greed, as Dr. Sarkar has mentioned, our greed and our unnecessary requirement included the metal into our daily life, and now we are facing a lot of problems. So starting from the toxicity to the epigenetic problem, and it is changing the biodiversity. And I was recently I have started working with the zoology department and their microbiota of any small area. And as Dr. Sarkar was mentioning, that there is small animals who are having a significant contribution in the ecology, but because of this aluminum unnecessarily coming into our environment, like it's trapped, but our uses, our greedy uses has taken this aluminum out of the environment into our sphere, so that disturbing the ecology. What I found recently, that it is not much toxic as such. It's commonly accepted as a biologically inert, but its presence can change many things, many parts of our biological activities. Like it's like helping as a catalyst to increase the toxicity. On the other side, the toxicity is not limited to particular system or particular small area of our body. It is being global to the body, and that even goes into the genetic part. So even now we found that it has some role in the like particularly reproductive organ cancers, and then like breast cancer, endometriosis, then prostate cancer might be, even early age dyslipidemia, puberty. So it's like unnecessarily we have invited the toxic into our life, and we are increasing the toxicity further and further. We are working on it, trying to find out how to control, maybe how to avoid aluminum. But as Dr. Sarkar has mentioned, that we need to change. The change should be within us. We need to bother about the environmental load, and not the immediate effect, not the immediate pleasure. We are using a lot of ACs, a lot of uh, uh, say trying to control the environment, and the environment is taking revenge on us. That's what I thought. Maybe we should start by ourselves. That's what I would like to say. And thank you very much, Professor Das, and all other members, distinguished members who are available here. Thank you very much for listening to me and sharing. I'm happy to share my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Professor Naik. Thank you very much for your kind presence and sharing your experience of the environmental issues. I'd like to request that if any questions or any doubt is there, another two distinguished experts will speak, and after that you can ask questions to that we open to forum. But let me first complete the whole process, and then I will ask. We are very honored that Professor Gustavo Zubieta is with us, and he's still filing from the Bolivia, La Paz, and one of the very much high altitude expert in the world. And so it is nice to see you, Dr. Gustavo. Continuously you are here and you are always with us. That's a pleasure for all of us. Thank you, Dr. Gustavo. I now request Dr. Nilima Dongre, Professor of Biochemistry, BLDC, BM Patil Medical College, Hospital and Research Center, Professor of Biochemistry and Deputy Coordinator IQAC. We actually have the Dr. Lata Mullur, who is also the IQAC Director. So it is nice to see many of the distinguished researchers here with us. Over to Dr. Nilima Dongre. Dr. Nilima? Dr. Nilima?
You're muted.
Dr. Nilima, please unmute.
Yes, sir. Can you hear, sir?
Yeah, we're hearing and we're listening, seeing also. Please share your thoughts about the research. You are an environmental health researcher, specifically in the area of the lead research. You share for 3 to 4 minutes with us.
Yes, sir. Good evening, all. I am feeling honored to be part of this discussion on the Environmental Day. The talk by Dr. Sarkar was really an eye-opener, I feel. Actually, my work also falls in the line of Dr. Nayak. He has worked on aluminum toxicity, and my work was on lead toxicity in the environment. So my work was on the occupational exposure workers, the effects of lead on the occupational exposure. All of us know the uses of lead are very much. It is because of its properties and it is availability in the Earth's crust, and its better properties of is anti-corrosiveness and all those. We have been using it in various aspects in our day-to-day life. though it is an useful metal, its increased use due to increase in the automobile industry productions, use of automobiles, and it's all these things has led to the increased levels of this lead in the environment, and that has led in the people suffering from the toxic effects. That was main theme of my research, what I could contribute there. And that has been also being noted by the policymakers, that is lead draft, as they have taken it a note of it, because my work actually focused on the toxic effect of lead on bone and kidney that has been reported in the toxicological draft by CDC. So just a little bit contribution I could do under the guidance of Professor Das, Dr. Arun Patil. All these are the pioneers in this field. My observation just led, it is a simple, useful element in the environment, but even in the small levels of this lead, it has got very toxic effects. It deranges the many things in the body. It affects all the organs and organ systems that we have to take care. So by checking the blood lead levels at the early stages of exposure only in these occupational workers, we can avoid the effects in the long duration of this. And this, not only the workers are affected by the effects of this lead, even in their children, it is found that those children who are playing in that environment of the lead exposed areas, they are found to have low IQ, learning disabilities. So it is really alarming, and all the regulatory bodies need to take care of it. So in this line, my observation was, because India and other developing countries, we have very many small scale industries which do not have proper regulatory monitoring. So it is necessary for the policymakers to see that these occupational workers, they are protected using the protective measures, and also their checkup regularly needs to be done, so that we can give them a good life and better sustainability with the working in that particular environment. So we should provide them nutritional supplements, antioxidants. This was all required. That was the outcome of my observations. And this is the small thing that I could contribute in this environmental field by doing my research on this lead element. So as we all know, this year's World Environmental Day's theme is Only One Earth, that is focusing on living sustainably in harmony with the nature. So we must take, I think, let us make a promise to the Mother Earth that we won't harm her more, and then we will make a healthier and make our mother nature a healthier one. I thank all the organizers, and thank you, Dr. Das sir, for giving me opportunity to share my little experience in the field of lead, toxic effects of lead. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Nilima. Your work is not little, it is a great work, because working on a heavy metal is an issue for all over the world. Dr. Sarkar knows very well, because we work on the arsenic poisoning and toxicity, so we know very well how difficult the work
in detail.
Yeah, but you did a great job, and we are proud of you, and definitely I hope that you'll be carrying out much more research on the environmental health issue. Sure. Now, thank you very much, and certificates will be provided later by email to all of you. Now, I just proceed the last expert of today, but not least. He is Sri Dhruv Patil. Dhruv M. Patil, the youngest among all. He was invited by UNESCO chair for a special lecture on UNESCO forum earlier, where Dr. Mubashiri was one of the guests in that occasion. Dhruv is only young, 18 years old. He is now student of second semester at undergraduation in New York University, New York. But his main passion and work is tremendous. His work is mentioned by many other journals and also in UNESCO forums and also in the different newspaper like Times Group, Times newspaper and CNN News 18 channel and all shown his documentary. He's a wildlife expert in this field. He's a wildlife expert, planet saver, and he's a crusader. And today, actually, he is now just returned from the US. Again, he'll be going back. But today, he has done a great job by planting a lot of plants along with many of his mentors like Dr. Murugesh Patan Shetty. He's also here. Dr. Murugesh Patan Shetty is one of the experts in the environmental issues. So he's also here. So Dhruv is an exceptional boy, and I'm proud that he's here with us. His work for Koti Viksha Prakshana, that is the saving and planting 1 crore, that is around 10 million of plants in Bijapur city, which ultimately become green from the barren land. So this is an exceptionally, which has actually reversed the climate change. Our temperature of Bijapur is actually reduced as compared to the 5 years early. This is a unique part of this. For that reason, many part of the world actually now discussing with our main thoughts, that I think and the person behind it, the MB Patil, Honorable Chancellor of BLD University in this regard. So Dhruv is one of the crusader and torchbearer of this. He's the youngest, so I spoke a little more about him to encourage him and to show all of you in the UNESCO forum that one unique boy. Over to Dhruv. Dhruv, you are here?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Das. I mean, it's an honor again to address all these senior professors. My sincerest apologies. I'm traveling. I had some sudden travel plans, but I did my best to see the meeting. And I mean, the lecture from the lecture from Mr. Sarkar was absolutely amazing. I mean, there's so many elements that I could just touch up on. So I'll just divide my talk into three parts. First thing, because it's World Environment Day, I want to talk about this theory that I'd read about. I forgot the name of the author, but it's a book called the Gaia Theory. And Gaia in Greek means Mother Earth. So the Gaia Theory basically states, let me take an anecdote of how a human body works, right? When a virus attacks a human body, the human body fights back by warming up. That's when you get a fever, and that's how you eliminate a virus. And the author applied the same theory as to how global warming is the Earth being hurt by a virus, which is humanity's actions, and how global warming is just its way to fight back. So speaking of that, why am I, as a 19-year-old, addressing such senior members? So I started doing wildlife photography when I was 10 years old. I have field experience from South India, from Africa, from Rajasthan. So that's partially why I tracked the famous Black Panther of India, the only documented Black Panther. I chased it for over 5 years to finally get one picture of the panther. And I'm now shooting a documentary in Bijapur about the wildlife of Bijapur, because the 1 crore trees that we planted along with the forest department and the work of again, a lot of individuals in that. Mr. Patan Shetty is here. So one of the coordinators for the program. So we planted 10 million trees in the span of 5 years. One of the largest man-made afforestation projects in the world. And that's partially my experience. I'm the founder of Society for Protection of Plants and Animals. So during the COVID lockdown, we fed over 6,000 stray animals. And as Mr. Sarkar said, right, that you have to educate the next generation. And by the next generation, I am part of the next generation. And what we did was we educated over 4,200 students, rural students of India. For those of you who don't know rural India, that they don't have access to technology. They don't have the same access to technology as we have in the cities. So they do not even have an idea about what global warming, climate change, wildlife conservation is. So what we did was we got 4,500 students from 16 different villages, and we taught them about these crucial things. We did a play, we gave them food. We taught them, these are some stuff that you can contribute to from your own village, from your own farm. Majority of rural India has farmers. So from your own farm, this is what you can contribute, and that's how you can help the earth. So through my foundation, SPPA, we've done a lot of activities. I started SPPA when I was 8 years old. So it's been running for a good 11 years now, and we're going to keep going. I have an event tomorrow in Bijapur where we're planting over 500 saplings. So it's constant work that I keep doing, just to do my part for the environment. And so I think touching back on Mr. Sarkar's talk, because that's the highlight of today. It was incredible how he mentioned, how fast fashion works, and why, why do people want, what's that need for the materialistic objects? So I remember studying psychology back in my 11th grade, and then we had this chapter called impulse control disorders. And impulse control disorders is a stronger term for more, harmful activities. But when we talk about buying or shopping and, getting this release of dopamine by just buying these products, it reminds me of a broader version of this impulse control disorder. It's not a disorder as such, but a mass, impulse control, like where people have to control their impulses. So it's these schedules of reinforcement where, you keep buying something that releases dopamine, and that schedules of reinforcement, that positive reinforcement is what wants you to buy more, keep buying more. And so, I mean, last but not the least, the only thing I want to say is each one of these small actions, from, planting a tree and maintaining it, to rescuing a dog, to even, making lifestyle changes such as eating less meat or no meat at all, or, even, not buying as many clothes or wasting as much food. All of these individual actions can make a difference, because there's 7 billion people on this earth, and each person has to make a small change for this entire planet to get back and to survive. So the message is to all my future generations, that we may be the last few generations that see this biodiversity, and if my generation doesn't step up and take action, then the earth has no future for humanity. And I thank you all. Thank you, Professor Das, again. And I'm so honored to be here, and wishing everyone a happy World Environment Day.
Thank you, Dhruv, for your presence. Even though you are traveling, but you accepted and you joined and you did it in spite of your tight schedule. I know very well you are very busy today, but thank you very much for your presence. And we are really enchanted with hearing you, because you are the youngest voice. And what Professor Sarkar said, the next generation, perhaps you are the right person in the next generation to keep the torch bearer, as a torch bearer. So thank you, Dhruv, and your certificate will be sent by email at the right time. Okay, and now I think I request that there are two chief guests. So I first request the two chief guests to comment. Then before conclusion, other guests, whoever want to speak, they can speak in this forum. So first I request the first chief guest, the chief guest, before going to the UNESCO chief guest, I will request our university Dean of Faculty of Medicine and Principal of C.B.M. Patil Medical College, Dr. Arvind V. Patil, Professor of Surgery and Principal of our medical school, and who is a great environmental expert. And today morning, he actually traveled along with the cycles, all the children, all the students of medicine, to take them to one place to plant the trees. So over to Dr. Arvind Patil to please, sir, you share a few thought of you about the Environmental Day.
Thank you, sir. And good evening to everybody, and good morning to Augusto Professor. So at the outset, I would thank Professor Das for giving us an opportunity. And since our university is doing a lot of work on environment and is very well led by our Chancellor and also young Mr. Dhruv Patil, they've taken a lot of interest, and we see a lot of sea change. As you said, one of the largest man-made forest. We are very proud of it. And similarly, sir, we heard from green chemistry. Yes, rapidly it is progressing, and people should get involved. We are using it, how that can be converted into a green chemistry and to be done. And similarly, now replacement for alumni and plastics. Rapidly work is going on throughout the world, but I think we must more focus as a group so that we can bring early changes. And very proud for me as a Professor Nilima, who is a part of our institution, a very proud moment for us to be a part of a led work. It's very, very honoring for me. And I'm proud Mr. Dhruv, who is a very young boy, who's taken up so much cause globally, is trying to move around and try to create a young generation in the mind that how the importance of environment plays. And coming to the two new things I learned, minimal living and most important park prescription, which was a very, very important thing. And we are trying to develop those things to the young medical students, taking them very frequently to understand the value of de-stressing yourself and contributing for that environment. This is what our institution is doing, and we look forward for such more meetings so that we can bring change through our medical students and be a part of the environmental leader. So I thank my Chancellor, sir, for giving us so many opportunities in the institution to create environment-friendly environment. So, sir, the Professor Das, sir, I thank you very much, and I would be very part of these activities anytime. We are all there with you through our medical school, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Arvind Patil, that your gracious presence here as one of the important chief guests of the occasion, because this is the occasion on behalf of the UNESCO chairholder, Professor Sinerik Airipetian, as a Dean of Environmental Health. I am actually doing it. So this is a big responsibility he has given to me and Dr. Mubashiri to conclude this part, to celebrate it, where many parts of the world, they have joined actually, and that is we are honored in the issues. And I'm very happy that our institution itself as a B.M. Patil Medical College taking initiative and leading role for making an environmental friendly and eco-friendly environment itself. And that's a great. And I really feel that your presence in this regards is extremely important for us at this moment when the climate change and the global warming is an issue for all of us. And I can only assure you that on behalf of the UNESCO UNITWIN network, that UNESCO chairholder life sciences and under Department of Environmental Health, which is officially at BLD University. So definitely it will take a lead role in India and abroad for making it an environmental health concern to the people, how it is connected to the environment. So your support is extremely important and your presence is really honored for UNESCO chair. Thank you very much, Dr. Patil. Thank you. I now request our UNESCO head of the Iran, Professor Hamid Najarzadeh, Professor Hamid Mubashiri. Professor Hamid Mubashiri, are you here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Professor Mubashiri, you are a part of us. So there is nothing to invite you as such because you and me are hosting the whole. So I just like that you should be, just say your words as a chief guest of today. Then I will keep it open forum so that other people can share before I conclude. So
right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Over to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Das, Professor Saikar, Professor Patil, Professor Gustavo, and all the other colleagues and scholars who have rather so dedicated that they are spending their holiday day. For us, is sometimes Sunday is holiday, but for you always. But still, you are so dedicated to the matter that are spending your holiday time in this very important issue. As you know, all the most important matter on the earth is life. We are here only, and the life is for us to support us and to live. So there is nothing more important than life on the earth. And everything should be in the favor and in the service of the life. And that includes both human being and every creature, because they are all entangled to each other. They are all related, no matter if they are plant, animals, and whatever. They are all required to have a very efficient life on the earth. And that is very unfortunate to see that the human being as a very intelligent or the most intelligent race is trying all his best to distinct itself and to destroy the environment. No other creature we can see doing like this, but human being. The other day I was talking about it with Professor Gustavo, my very nice friend from Bolivia, and that is quite important, that we are destroying the lung of Earth by destroying the Amazon jungle. We are destroying, as Professor Saikar elaborated on different aspects of it, we are destroying the air by different pollution, by fossil fuel, by different, lots of cars, lots of the air polluting, and going away from the green chemistry our friend was talking about. We are destroying the air. We are destroying the water, underground water, as well as the seawater, river water, ocean water. And that is quite sad to witness that human being, the most intelligent race, is doing so. And this is why we haven't found any place to go once we destroy this land. The Voyager has exited from the solar system and he couldn't find anything on the way. The different cameras, the Hubble and others, so far haven't found any place, even as bad as the worst place on the Earth. What is still, we ignore even the desert. The most unmanned land on the Earth is much better than any place so far known. And that is terrible that we are witnessing like this. So there are different things that was elaborated very nicely by different colleague of mine. I don't have to go through that. But I think the most important thing and solution is the migration. Unfortunately, all human beings are migrating toward the cities, and that is terrible. The more poor nation, the most migration happens there. For example, the developed country have got less migration, and the population has distributed evenly. For example, in England, you cannot find any difference between rural and cities. While wherever you go to the poorest country, you can see that all the community has been gathered in main cities. The cities that are not constructive, that are not productive, and their presence is a lack of even humanity, and the moral is declining, the prosperity is declining, and everybody is relying on the pocket of the neighbors, while neither of them are productive enough. At the same time, when they leave their homeland, that land is destroyed by itself, because once it was productive, the water was managed, the greenery, the plantation, everything was okay. But once they left that place, then they lose it. The general conclusion of this, all the migration is, apart from lack of the healthy body that nice people talked about, the lead, for example, aluminum, dust, and everything that comes from that abundant place, is lack of morality. And that is very important, because human being is not living anymore in a very high moral and very prosperous status. Especially electromagnetic field has caused it much more severe effects, so that the brain doesn't work equally as properly. The different mechanism, metabolism of body, when it is exposed to different matter that we are working on it, we can find that it does affect on every aspect of the life at the molecular atomic level. So we have to somehow change our lifestyle, as Professor Sarkar very nicely elaborated on that. We have become workaholic, which is not in our nature. We have become shopaholic, which is not in our nature. And instead of that, we have lost everything that defines a human. So I think by changing the attitude of human being, we have to clear it. And I am sorry to say that it is not okay to do it from bottom to top. I mean, I appreciate the effort of our young Dr. Patil and other youngsters as a new generation, but the problem should be solved from the top. We have to have policy, we have to have different appeals, we have to have regulation. We have government for this case. We don't have them otherwise. We don't need them otherwise. So UNESCO, International Science Council, United Nations, whatever organization, world organization, or the people, governmental ones, they have to, they must to, they should to, it is their duty. There is nothing more important than this. And we have to push them all to go for it. And it is very sad to see that some superpowers even are against the environmental issues, against the man-mind, for example, all sorts of things. And it is very pity. And it is very pity that the countries like China and India, the countries who were known to have bicycles as a transportation means, have changed into the main car for the using countries, and that is very sad. Every car, no matter how much petrol is consumed, when it is a matter of the billion of people, it devastates this small globe. And unfortunately, we are living, sometimes it was very bad to say about the gas room, for example. but now we are living in the gas chamber, all of us. By gas, by dust, by air pollution, by all sorts of things, and nobody cares enough, and only they care about their instant benefit from the selling the cars or whatever it is. So I think it is better for every one of us to get together and write appeals and petitions and instruct the governors of the countries and the government of the different international societies to do something about it, because sometimes the people on the low level, they have no other choices to do. It is so poor that doesn't have to burn, the first thing that it goes for the wood in the jungle. So once the policy changed and it was supplied, the petrol or everything was supplied, then he can change his attitude and respect the nature as well. So the policy is very important because it manages the way people live and the different level of the society. It is the policy that distributes the people evenly across the world, and definitely it will improve all the living style in the world. Thank you very much, and sorry for long talk as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Mubashiri, for your excellent thoughts, insight thoughts, and in a nutshell, you have narrated the today's purpose, objective, and the distinguished persons who have spoken about the environmental health and other environmental issues in a very briefly. And yes, you are always there in the causes of environmental health, though you are a renowned biophysicist of your own, that we are really honored. Now, thank you very much. As a chief guest, you have accepted on behalf of the UNESCO, and you are the part of UNESCO, so you have accepted. So again, as a dean, I convey my sincere thanks to you. And now I just request, there are some of distinguished speakers, persons are there who are very well. So I request Professor Gustavo and Professor Sangram Biradar. I will request Dr. Murugesh Patan Shetty. Dr. Murugesh Patan Shetty, you are here?
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir. I'm there, sir.
I will just request you one by one. First, please speak about 2 to 3 minutes about your thought of today's. Dr. Murugesh Patan Shetty is actually he's a PhD. He has a PhD in an MBA PhD in administration, but he's a professor of our Commerce and Management College. But he's an expert and he's a crusader and he's a fighter and frontline torch bearer of environmental health causes. And he's always with us in a different issue. He's one of the person whose group mentioned that game changer of environment, along with Honorable Chancellor of BL University, M.B. Patilji. Over to Dr. Murugesh.
Very good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to the dignitaries present in this August gathering. I'm Dr. Murugesh Patan Shetty, working as an associate professor. My opinion in this regard, today's the main topic is, like, what we are seeing, I can speak only on the environment, which we have taken the project in the year 2016, which was allotted by Dr. M.B. Patil sir to be. So when we have started the journey in the year 2016, with the forest density in Vijaypur, it was just a 0.17. 0.17 is very meager forest coverage area in this part. So taking into this consideration, we have made a big objective in this Vijaypur district, like planting 1 crore trees in 5 years. And our organization called Vriksha Abhiyana Pratishtana, which is focusing mainly on covering the green cover area in this part. So initially it was a Herculean task for us, and we went to the forest department. Like there are 3 forest departments which have helped us unconditionally. Near about 20 lakhs saplings or the plants which they have given it to us every year. So we took around 6 years of time to complete this biggest project. And again, our president sir is trying to take this forward for next 3 crore and project. So why basically require forest in this area is, the moment when we look at the geographical area of this part, the temperature will go up to 45 degrees Celsius. So there are a lot of activities and not only projects have been taken by during that time the irrigation minister Dr. M.B. Patil sir. So he thought of, let us make this part as a green so that we can expect much more rain, which indeed going to help the farmers of this place. So with keeping that in mind, we have done a big project by involving all the NGOs, schools, colleges, and universities to be a part of this Koti Vriksha Abhiyana. And we have chosen the only native plants which can be raised in this part. So that is how we have worked. I think we are so proud that we have completed this project and we are going for next level. And one more thing is, I'm trying to talk about Dhruv Patil, the youngest chap in this gathering, who has also taken a very active participation in Koti Vriksha Abhiyana, and he has joined his hands with us. And finally, we have made this project successful. And we are not stopping here. This is just a beginning. We are trying to take it forward. We will try to at least increase to the level of 10% forest coverage area. Already, I can tell you one thing. Now, when we have started, it was a 0.17. Now we have reached to 0.23. There is an increase in 0.6% in the green cover area. And thanks to all green warriors, the forest officers, who have supported us unconditionally and made the saplings or plants available to all the nature lovers and NGOs who are planting. Today also, we have planted near about 3,000 plants in Vijaypur district, the entire Vijaypur district. Thanks to the forest department, thanks to M.B. Patil sir, and thanks to one more warrior is there with us, that is Arvind Patil sir. He is very, very, very dynamic in when it comes to green cover area. So this is all from my end. I can say only about, see, if environment is good, so the life is good. If there is no proper environment, there is no life. So that is what with a there is a one quote given by Sri Siddheshwar Swamiji. What he says is, what we are taking from the nature, let us give it back to the nature. So with this mission, we are working on increasing the green cover in this part of India. Thank you, Kushalda sir, for giving me an opportunity to speak 2 to 3 minutes. I think I have taken much time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Murugesh. You are a great in this work, and we are really feeling proud that under your guidance and your expertization, Bijapur is really becoming green, and it is green to greener. It is day by day is becoming. And one more ODR is also here. See, Padugora Patil. He's also here. He's listening here. He's a school teacher, but one of the crusader and warrior of the green. And I'm very happy that see Padugora Patil ji also here with us. And now I request Dr. Sangram Biradar, Professor of Medicine, to just say a few words about your thoughts about the environment for 2 to 3 minutes. You can speak, please. Dr. Sangram Biradar.
First of all, let me thank and congratulate Dr. Kushal Das for conducting such an wonderful meeting on this World Environment Day. As a clinician, for us, a medical person, the climatic changes which are going to happen, global climate changes and the emerging infections, mainly the effects on the brain of air pollution, water pollution, mobile phones, pesticides, heavy metals, plastic, COVID-19, green spaces, etc., all the things which are bothering us. So let me congratulate Dr. Kushal Das for conducting such a wonderful meeting, and also congratulate Dr. Ratano Sarkar for delivering an excellent talk, and all the other faculties for participating. Thank you once again for giving me an opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Biradar, that you are, in spite of your tight schedule, and you are a clinician and physician. And Dr. Biradar is actually clinician par excellence as far the concern of his place called Gulbarga. It is 3 hours distance from Bijapur. I think 186 kilometers from my place, Bijapur. So he's an excellent physician, professor of medicine, and we are really feeling proud that he is with us in this event of World Environmental Day to celebrate. Thank you, Dr. Biradar. Thank you. I now request Dr. Gustavo to conclude today. You just conclude today so that I don't need to do conclusion. You just give a conclusion, speak for 4 to 5 minutes, and then we'll be end. Dr.
Oh, I will
Gustavo.
be very brief, Dr. Das. First, to congratulate you on such an interesting event, to salute all the interesting colleagues like Amit Mobasheri and all the other academicians that I really enjoyed, thanks to you, and to congratulate Dr. Sarkar because he opened our eyes to some other aspects like the gene situation. And I think that there's a word, a very interesting word called brainwashing. Now, when you wash a cloth, you make it cleaner, but the brainwashing that the media has done is actually brain polluting. It has changed our attitude. It has targeted dopamine as a means of getting satisfaction from buying, as Professor Sarkar has very well mentioned, and it's extremely crucial. As you know, I have invented the pneumolysis term, which means the pneumo means air, alveoli in the lungs, and lysis means destruction. This is for COVID, the way viruses attack a body, an organism, and destroy the alveolar cells, and hence can take life. In the same way, I have created a word called foresta lysis, which the viruses becomes the humans that destroy the forests. Foresta lysis would be the destruction of the forests. And that is just like hitting the lungs of us, the lungs of Mother Nature. In our society, in Latin America, in Bolivia, we call it Pachamama, the Mother Nature. And so I congratulate Dr. Sarkar for this interesting talk. I congratulate you, Dr. Kushal Das. I'm very honored to be present, and I wish you all that we change our mental attitudes and let's block media from our children as much as possible. Schools should teach children that media can be extremely toxic and it has polluted our brains. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Gustavo, for your brief but very important talk about that. And the word which you have chosen, the forestolysis, I really like it in concern with the Amazon. You know, all that Amazon forest actually from the Peru to Bolivia to Brazil, it has gone. In this way, the Brazil is the Bolivia is the part where actually it is landed in the lower side and then it has gone to the dense. So the very important part of their life, both Brazil and recently in one of the environmental program, I have invited the Brazilian professor and Dr. Gustavo was also there to chair the session on the issue, on the concern. So we are really in the perspective of the UNESCO, we are actually joining together with some of the countries which are actually globally affected by the greed of the developed countries, because they want the development at the cost of the third world countries where the industries are actually developed, but the wood forestations, all they give because they give the money, and ultimately we sacrifice our forests, sacrifice our people, sacrifice our culture because of we get some money, and ultimately we have actually been purchased and sold to the big company, multinational company. It's a chain of the greed, which Dr. Sarkar has very nicely, precisely, but very nicely he's explained that how the chain of mind actually being read to thought to exploit the whole situation. I think on behalf of the UNESCO, we always fight for that. We always see that the globe and the earth should be planned, our planet should be full of oxygen, full of green. Let our development and all, whatever there, that does not require too much of development, but definitely our planet should be more human, so that will actually survive us more in a better way for the future generation. That is a question that next 3 generations, what they do. I don't think that everyone will be like Dhruv Patil for next generation. Is such a sensitive issues of the environment, they'll be crusader. So we have to make them more. Dhruv Patil should come out and they should be like that. And next our generations and next generations should take the leading role so that our future is bright. So in this word, I again thank to today's chief speaker or guest speaker under the UNESCO chair, Life Sciences, Dr. Atanu Sarkar. You are here from Canada, and we are very happy and honored of your presence. I thanks to Dr. Mohammad Nazarjadeh, the today's moderator and who is also UNESCO representative from Shemran University, Iran. Dr. Najarzadeh, we are very honored that you have accepted, you are here with us. I definitely all feel honored to have our two chief guests, Dr. Muhammad Najjar, Dr. Hamid Mobashiri and Dr. Arvind B. Patil to be with us. Dr. Mobashiri is our part of it. He is a part of UNESCO, and we two together actually conducted this program today. And I thanks to all the four, the distinguished experts in this, Dr. P.S. Ganesh, Dr. Prashun P. Nayak from All Institute of Medical Science, Dr. Nilima Dongre from Yale University, Dhruv Patil from New York. And we are really honored that you have all accepted and you are with us to grace this occasion. And some of the distinguished persons, expert in the field of medicine, like Dr. Professor Gustavo Zubieta from La Paz, Bolivia, Dr. Sangram Biradar from Gulbarga, Professor of Medicine of MR Medical College, and also Dr. Murgesh Patan Shetty, one of the expert and crusader of environmental health and a professor of management who are with us. And many of the distinguished people and the well-wishers are here with us. So I thank to all of them. And lastly, I thanks to Dr. Shayandeep Das for all IT support today he has given, because it is completely under the UNESCO. So it was a holiday, so I did not get any support. So Dr. Shayandeep has given me all the support to conduct the program. So thanks to Dr. Shayandeep for doing this job. Overall, thank you very much. Hope you will be all having a nice day, and the greetings for World Environment Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for organizing. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Take care and have a nice day.
Bye.